Welcome, brave soul. Tonight, we venture to the haunted lake that holds no bottom, where shadows whisper and the mist carries secrets of the lost. As the cursed waters beckon, will you dare to witness the tale of those who tried to escape its grasp? Hold your breath. The lake's hunger is eternal.
We drove deep into the woods, my wife and I eager to see the infamous bottomless lake. Locals warned us, but our curiosity drowned out their fears. A thick fog welcomed us as we parked. The lake was hauntingly still, its surface as smooth as glass. I shivered, feeling eyes watching from the shadows of the encircling trees. My wife clutched my arm, whispering, "Do you feel that?" I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. A cold breeze carried whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The hairs on my neck stood up as we moved closer to the water's edge. We looked at the lake and it looked back, or so it seemed. My wife's hand trembled in mine. The ground felt softer, like it could swallow us whole. The fog thickened, pressing in. Suddenly ripples formed in the center of the lake. Something, or someone, had disturbed it. "Is someone there?" I called out, my voice cracking. Silence was my only answer. My wife pulled me back, her eyes wide with terror. "This isn't right," she whispered. But before we could retreat, the sound of faint laughter echoed from beneath the water. Our fear escalated, but something compelled me to stay. It was as if the lake itself had taken hold of me, whispering secrets that I couldn't comprehend. We couldn't leave, yet. As night fell, the temperature dropped sharply. We lit a small fire for warmth, but the flames did little to drive away the chill. Shadows moved unnaturally along the shore. My wife huddled close, and I tried to reassure her, though my own fear was barely contained. "It's just the wind," I lied. But deep down, I knew there was something more. Suddenly, a splash echoed from the lake, louder this time. We both jumped, eyes wide. A shape surfaced momentarily, then vanished, leaving dark ripples behind. I grabbed a flashlight and aimed it toward the lake. The beam barely cut through the fog, but we could make out a figure standing at the water's edge across from us. "Who's there?" I shouted, my voice swallowed by the oppressive mist. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, motionless. My wife pulled me back, panic in her eyes. We backed away slowly, but the ground behind us seemed to shift and pulse. The figure melted into the fog, leaving us questioning if it had ever been there. Then the whispers returned, louder and more insistent. They spoke of secrets buried deep below, of souls that had never escaped. My wife and I were frozen in place, terrified. Exhausted and terrified, we retreated to our tent, but sleep was impossible. The whispers had invaded our minds, and each creak of the forest made us jump. My wife fell into a restless sleep, but I stayed awake, haunted by shadows. Around midnight, I felt a cold hand brush my cheek. I spun around, but nothing was there. I stumbled outside, gasping for air. The lake looked more menacing than ever, its black waters churning. A woman in a torn dress stood at the shore, pointing at me. Her face was pale and wet, eyes empty. She opened her mouth and a gurgling scream escaped. My legs turned to lead and I could barely breathe. My wife rushed to my side. "What is it?" she cried. But when she looked, the woman had vanished. The whispers turned into screams, and the ground beneath us felt ready to collapse. My wife grabbed my face. "We need to leave now." But the lake had other plans. Roots shot out of the ground, tangling around our ankles as if trying to pull us in. I broke free, dragging my wife with me. We stumbled into the woods, the screams fading but not vanishing. We knew we had to escape before the lake claimed us too. We ran through the forest, branches clawing at our faces and clothes. The mist pursued us, wrapping around our limbs, trying to drag us back toward the lake. My wife tripped over a root and cried out. I pulled her up, adrenaline pumping. The ground felt like quicksand beneath our feet, sinking us deeper with each step. "We'll never make it," she sobbed, but I refused to give up. The whispers taunted us, promising doom, promising we'd become one with the lake's cursed souls. A light appeared in the distance, a cabin. We stumbled toward it, praying for sanctuary. The door was unlocked, and we tumbled inside, slamming it shut behind us. The cabin was cold and empty, but it offered a momentary reprieve. We held each other, trembling, as the whispers scratched at the windows like a living thing. I searched the cabin for anything useful and found an old journal. It spoke of the lake, of the lives it had claimed, and the curse that kept their souls trapped forever. "We can't stay here," my wife said, her voice weak. The lake's pull was strong, and the cursed energy seemed to seep into the cabin. We had to make a final attempt to escape. We gathered our strength and burst out of the cabin, determined to make it back to the car. The mist was thicker now, and the whispers were deafening, filled with rage. The lake came into view, more sinister than ever. A dark figure rose from the water, massive and grotesque, with eyes that glowed red in the darkness. It reached out with watery limbs, trying to ensnare us. I pushed my wife ahead. "Go! Don't look back!" I shouted, fighting to keep the creature at bay. She ran, but I was trapped, my feet sinking into the muddy ground. The creature loomed over me, whispering, "Join us." My mind was filled with darkness and fear. Suddenly my wife returned, throwing a flare at the creature. It recoiled, giving me just enough time to break free. We ran, hearts pounding, toward the car. We reached the vehicle and threw ourselves inside. The car roared to life, and I floored the gas pedal. The lake's mist tried to hold us back, but we broke through. As we drove away, the lake's whispers faded, but we knew we were forever marked. The lake had no bottom, and its curse would haunt us forever, whispering our names.
The story may have ended, but nightmares have a way of clinging to you, following you into the dark. Tonight, when the shadows lengthen and you feel that creeping dread, remember, some nightmares don't end when you wake up. If this story left you uneasy and you crave more terror, hit the like and subscribe button. The real nightmare is only just beginning.